So while we say hello to everyone and everyone joins us this evening, please leave in the comments what is your guess for a word or words that we might be talking about that start with the letter O. Oh, wow. OMG. Oh, wow. Hello, Cheryl. Hello, Jess. Hello, Misty. Thank you all so much for joining in tonight. So, there's an addition back there. Right there. Yeah, right there. My happy birthday balloon. Yesterday was my birthday. So, we are also celebrating my birthday tonight. Yay! Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday by yourself, as sad as it can be. Woo! So that's my song for today. Yay! Oh, wow, we got some guesses coming in. We're talking about Ozempic, overwhelmed, optimistic, overcome, obstacles, outdoors, overdue. This girl like studies the words before she comes in. She is prepared. And my word for the night was going to be OMG, I am not prepared. Full disclosure, I had a terrible weekend, I think related to hormones or something going on. I had a severe migraine that pretty much just knocked me off the planet and I slept. So that was my weekend, and then just got into work stuff, and it's been busy. And I am dog sitting this week, so I'm busy with that. I got to run as soon as I get off of here. I got to go and visit a dog, take him out for his potty break, and feed him and stuff. So yeah, my word is OMG. I am not prepared. That is my word for tonight. So we're going to see where we go. Obstacles. I'm going to have to look up octogenarian because I have no idea what octogenarian means at all. So I'm pretty sure that I can't talk to the word octogenarian. Wow. Don't be sorry for being prepared and knowing all the words. You're helping me out, girl. I love you. Thank you so much. Like, that's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So, yeah, I'm 80 now. Don't I look good for 80? I'm just stunning. Like, what are the secrets for me? Like, being 80, I'm looking so good. I hope I'll make it to 80. Oh, is that what octogenary that word means? Is that it? Is that what we're talking about? Octogenarian, whenever you're 80. Okay, I get it now. Sorry, I'm a little bit behind. I'm a little slow. What can I say? So my face might look good for 80, but my brain not so much. But I'm 48. In case anybody, I'm not shy about sharing my age. In case anybody wanted to know how old I was, 48 years old. Um, so yeah, that's where we're at. I have a close friend of mine who is actually thinking about taking like Ozempic or Wegovy, or I don't know. They come by a bunch of different names, and I guess there's like Manjaro. I don't know. I don't know a lot about them. Honestly, I can't really talk about it because I don't know very much. But I have a friend that's considering taking one of them, and from what I've seen, like, man, awesome results that can be achieved. It's quite expensive if you don't have like really awesome insurance or coupon or whatever. But I've also read some things about it that it's not always sustainable weight loss, that once you go off the drugs, that there could be some things that don't always go your way. So really, it just it depends. So I'm not gonna talk to it. I think, I am supportive of anyone who wants to lose weight, doing it in the way that works best for them. If what works best for you is going to be, taking some form of weight loss drug, as long as it is under your doctor's, review and approval and their consideration and everything like that, then I don't really see, a problem with it. It's going to be to, everybody has to look at things that are going to work for them, that's going to be good for them in a way that they believe is the best thing for them. I think, for some people, they need that little boost of weight loss so that they can get started. It can be like helpful for the brain type thing. So I think everybody needs to evaluate these things on their own and figure out what is best for them. I know that for me, it will not be an option that I choose. I am going for, I have the right to reserve my mind, change my mind at any time in my life. That's just, but as far as right now, I am only considering natural means of weight loss for weight loss. That means no surgery, no drugs, etc. As that's just my personal, choice. But I support other people's choices as well, and I don't see that there's anything wrong with them. So that's pretty much all I can say about that. That is pretty much all I can say about that. But you guys came up with some other good words, so I want to talk about those words as well. And I love, love, love. I love all these words, actually. They're wonderful words. Wonderful words. Definitely wonderful words. So let's start with overwhelmed. Overwhelmed is a feeling that we can feel. A feeling works for some, not for others. I have some friends it's working for, and some had to go off of it for side effects. Yep. Ask your doctor if you want info. That's definitely the recommendation here. We're not doctors here. I'm just a girl trying to lose some weight and has a, fun little show on YouTube. But yeah, definitely. Overwhelmed. Overwhelmed is a feeling. It's a feeling. So think about whenever you feel overwhelmed. And the big thing with feeling overwhelmed is, how do you react to being overwhelmed? I know that for everybody, overwhelmed can create a different action line. So there's a circumstance that creates a thought, that creates a feeling, and has an action and a result. That's the thought model that's taught by Brooke Castillo of the Life Coach School, and by my one of my weight loss mentors, Corinne Crabtree, in the No BS weight loss program. They both teach this model. Circumstance creates a thought, feeling, action, result. So the circumstance is, you've got a whole bunch of work to do. And so that circumstance creates a thought, and you're thinking, I'm overwhelmed. And whenever you think that you're overwhelmed, you can kind of feel that sensation throughout your body. So for me, whenever I feel overwhelmed, I feel a lot of tension throughout my back. I feel sometimes whenever I'm overwhelmed, I have tightening in my stomach, and sometimes I get butterflies. Sometimes I can feel a little bit anxious about the situation, and I can start to get sweaty because of the feeling of overwhelmed can create for me. This can be, if my house is in disarray and out of order, I can start to feel overwhelmed. Whenever I have a lot of work to do, I can feel overwhelmed. Whenever I have more bills than I have money to pay the bills, I can feel overwhelmed. And in each one of those instances, I feel that feeling, but the action line can be a little bit different. So one of my bad habits that I have, this is just a coping mechanism, a habit that I have, that I like to go into shutdown mode whenever I'm in overwhelm. Instead of taking action and doing something, lessening the overwhelm, I do the exact opposite and I completely shut down and I just can't do anything in order to, release that feeling of overwhelm. And that was something that I was noticing in my food journal. So, been keeping a food journal forever. Every day I, make a plan of what I'm going to eat. This is what I'm going to eat today, blah, blah, blah. Review it at the end of the day to say, did I eat that or not? Why didn't I? Was there anything going on? And hey, Tia, thanks for joining. I'm glad you're listening. Izzy girl. But I write down all of these things and then I do an assessment. So whenever I do my assessment, I might think about, what led to me not necessarily following my plan for the day. And overwhelmed is a feeling that would come up. Sorry. He's joining us this evening. So overwhelmed was a feeling that would come up often. So by keeping this food journal, like last week, we were talking about the notebook, keeping that food journal in that notebook, I was able to become aware of this habit of whenever I go into overwhelm, I kind of shut down and I don't do anything. I take no action, but that leads into a spiral of more inaction. So because I didn't take action on this, now, that my environment goes to hell and, that's not looking good. Whenever my environment doesn't look good, my food choices don't look as good. So it creates this snowball effect of different things that would happen throughout, the day. All these different, just snowball of items, of activities, all by this thought of I'm overwhelmed. So one way to deal with that is to deal with the thought in general. The thought in general. Whenever I think, man, I'm just so overwhelmed with all of this, I try and reframe that and just think, you have a bunch of tasks to do. You just need to write them down and figure out what order that you're going to work on them. And instead of catastrophizing the whole feeling of overwhelmed and just making it so much bigger by reframing the thought, just saying you're not overwhelmed, you just have a lot of tasks to do, write them down and figure out your plan. It kind of puts me at ease. The act of just writing down everything that I need to do, even though, that's adding to what I have to do, but it helps me to see, okay, this is what I've got to do. This is the order of importance that I should really be working on these things. What's the thing that's going to make me feel the best? What's going to give me the biggest return is one kind of way that I like to look at those tasks. And just reframe that overwhelm and make it not feel so big. I know for a lot, overwhelm is one of those things that for a lot of people leads to emotional eating. You're eating whenever you're not necessarily hungry. For a lot of people that like to, are more on the overeating end of the spectrum. It's just, I feel so overwhelmed. So I'm going to relax, find comfort in food. So we want to be aware of the thoughts that we're feeling. Get your notebook out. Hey, hello to Sherry. Welcome. Thank you for joining tonight. Take a look in your notebook, write it down whenever you feel overwhelmed, and think about, were there different actions that were caused by this overwhelm? Because you might find that you have the habit of dealing with overwhelm in a certain way. If it might be different depending on the type of overwhelm that you have. If it's overwhelm in relation to home things, you might react differently than to overwhelm in the workplace scenario. If it's overwhelmed regarding money, you might act differently than the other two scenarios. So it's always good to be kind of examining our thoughts and our behaviors and our actions, to see what kind of habits do we have, and can we work on habits that are going to be more helpful to what our goals are, or if they're going to, or if there's habits that we need to kind of break and distance ourselves from. It's very interesting whenever you think about overwhelm. But really, all it is it's a feeling. And for some people, the first method that I talked about, reframing it and thinking about it, and just trying to change the thought that you have in your mind. So instead of, telling your like child brain, hey, that's not what we want to think about it. We want to think this way instead. For some people, that's, a big step to go to, oh, wow, I'm overwhelmed, and going directly to reframing our thoughts. Another thing that we can do, and it's something that I'm really exploring and I'm really learning about, and it's something that I'm trying to practice, is that we can take a pause, take a moment, and just breathe. It is so funny how much I forget to breathe. So many exercises were so hard because I would forget to breathe. And whenever you're doing exercise with the trainer, how many times does the trainer say, and breathe, and breathe, and breathe in here, and breathe out there, and breathe in here, and breathe out there? Breathing. So whenever I start to feel overwhelmed, if I just take a moment, hear my trainer, it tells me, hey, how about we just take some breaths here? And breathe and try and release some of that tension that I'm feeling in my body, some of that stress. Then I can start to think about it. Oh, okay, I'm feeling overwhelmed. It's just a feeling. I can feel a different way about this. I can think about it in a different way. But that breathing gives me like that minute of release that I need, that minute of pause, that minute to just think about it. So breath work, which I've been, like I said, it's a new habit that I'm dabbling in, I'm learning about. You guys are on this adventure with me. Anything that I learn, I'm going to share it with you, and I'm going to share my experience with it. If it's good, bad, indifferent, whatever it is, I'm going to share it with you. But I've been learning that because I have a habit of not stopping to breathe. It's been so beneficial to me. And something so small is just crazy. It's crazy. Different levels of being overwhelmed react differently. Shut down, binge eating is a huge one. Temper tantrums, crying. There are so many different things that we can do. Step away, meditate. So still do bad habits sometimes. We all do. And bad habits are so hard to break. You can do good for like 3 months with breaking a bad habit, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here it comes up and just, catches you off guard. Exhale on the effort. God, it's all effort. I just completely exhale all the time. I have to inhale sometimes too. Anyway, so overwhelm is such a big thing. And it's so funny because a lot of times whenever you're doing a diet, you don't really think about how a simple feeling can really overcome you and take away all like rational thought. You're not even in a thinking mindset. You're just acting on a feeling of being overwhelmed. So another thing that we can do is try and reduce how many times it is that we become overwhelmed. So if we know that whenever our house starts to get into a state of disarray, I'm just speaking of personal example here, that we can make sure that we're building in habits into our lifestyle so that that doesn't happen, so that we prevent it from ever getting to that place. I'm not going to say that's going to work 100% of the time, but if you're always, trying to stay on top of things, then it's less likely that you're going to start to feel overwhelmed in that area. So that's one example. We can, on the front side, try and make sure that we're not getting overwhelmed with things. Another thing for me with overwhelm was learning that one of the things to mitigate feeling overwhelmed for me, speaking up, using my voice, speaking about my needs and my wants. But again, I'm going to go back to that notebook. And when we're tracking our food, we're tracking our feelings, we're tracking our thoughts. Whenever we're becoming more aware of these things and we're seeing the patterns that occur in our lives, it makes it, we're more able to come up with solutions and problems. If we're just curious about, why is this going on? Why every time, a lot of times we can see the results whenever we go back and we examine them and we look at them. We can find ways to think of solutions that are going to work for us. And that's the funny thing. And why weight loss is so personal. If it was as simple as finding an eating plan and following that eating plan, we would all be able to do it no problem, easy. But it's not just about that. Why do we not do the things that we know will help us get us to our goal? Because most of the time, whenever we're not having success, it's because we're not doing the things. Why aren't we doing the things? And it can be things like overwhelm. And it's a huge one. I know that so many people feel overwhelmed. So anybody else got anything to say about overwhelm? Because that was like, ooh, that was fun. That was like, I just let it all out. Exhaled on the effort. Boy, did I. So overwhelm. The biggest thing I can think of is, just be curious about your overwhelm. When is it happening? What's happening? What can I do either to prevent it, or when it's happening, what can I do to lessen it? And try and find different solutions that work for you, because for some people, whenever they feel overwhelmed, the idea of making a list is not going to work for them. So that's not going to be a good solution. You've got to try different solutions that might work for you. For some people, it's like as simple as getting away from whatever's making them feel overwhelmed, going for a walk, stepping away from the desk, something like that, to where whenever they're away from it for a minute, they can now think a little bit more critically about the situation and make a plan about how they're going to move forward with it. So we just want to think about what we're going to do and think about what it is that your current habit is and how you would normally deal with the situation, and be aware of that and think, okay, that's not the thing that I want to do, because that just sends me into the spiral of negative things. So there we go. Yeah, for some people, overwhelm does nothing to them. Oh my gosh. As long as they don't stop you. Some people can feel overwhelmed all day long and it doesn't have any impact on, what they're doing weight loss wise at all. And for other people, oh, I love that. At work, I have to close all the tabs and start fresh. I get stressed out with tabs whenever people have too many tabs. I'm like, I don't like your screen. I can't even look at it. My husband has like tab, all the way across. And I don't even know how you know what you've got going on there. And then he's working like with 4 different desktop things going on. I'm like, and he's like, oh, I got to switch over to this other desk. That overwhelms me. So I'm totally feeling you with the whole do all the start fresh. I read it as fresh anyway. So that's overwhelmed. Optimistic. Optimistic is also a feeling, but this is a different kind of feeling. Oh my God, I'm feeling so optimistic. Feeling really good. Man, have you ever had that like optimistic feeling where you're just like, oh, this week has just been so good, so good, so excellent. What a wonderful week that we're having. I'm going to have a great weigh in. You're so optimistic about the week. You felt like, all your things were on track. You were, eating the diet that you're supposed to be eating. You got your portion sizes all perfect. You've been drinking your water, doing your sleep. You got your exercise. Everything's like perfect. You're all just so optimistic for that weigh-in, and then you step on the scale and you're like, what? That's it? What? So that whole optimistic feeling, I'm have questioned myself on my optimism because I'm like a hopeless romantic, except for with optimism. I'm like, tomorrow's gonna be a better day. Tomorrow's going to be a better day. Next meal, it's going to be great. I am just always so, not always, I'm not going to say always, okay, because no. But the majority of my time, I am much more optimistic person than I am a pessimistic person, I think, outwardly. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty optimistic. Although, mm, so I totally lost my train of thought. I have two monitors now too. I have three monitors. Three. And I can never work with less than two monitors anymore. My pelvic floor physical therapist said for me to never do exercise where I hold my breath, and it's made me more conscious of breathing. So she just meant to make sure that you're not holding in your breath. Holding in your breath is not good. So what was I going to say about uh, being optimistic that I totally lost my train of thought on? I don't know if I'll ever get it back. Oh no. Like, is it written on my desk somewhere? I know it's not. Um, I had something really good to say about that and just totally left. Oh, like I'm a hopeless romantic, optimist. I think I can be a little bit too optimistic. And sometimes I think that can be a little bit not the best thing, being too optimistic. And that maybe sometimes, you need some of that like tough love type stuff, just so yeah, I like it whenever I have people who want to challenge me on my optimistic thinking sometimes because I don't want just a yes man who's always going to go along with my optimism. And maybe somebody, a little bit of pessimism can go a long way for somebody like me. So it's a good just a good way to think about, the people that I keep in my life in order to help support me along the way. It's an interesting thing, but it's also being aware of that I can, that maybe possibly it is a character flaw and maybe I'm a little bit too optimistic on things sometimes. But again, it's a feeling, but I enjoy the feeling of being optimistic because whenever I am feeling optimistic, I feel much more engaged. I feel more motivated. I feel like things are more enjoyable. I feel like they're more exciting. And these are all like really, really positive words. Um, but whenever I feel, on the other hand, whenever I feel overwhelmed, I feel nervous, anxious, out of control. sometimes maybe even a little like worthless. And these are things that, are more negative feelings that I don't want to feel. So on one hand, even though my optimism can be, maybe a little bit too much on the optimism spectrum, I'd rather feel engaged and excited and interested and those types of feelings than on the other side of the spectrum where I'm not going to make any action. Whenever I'm feeling optimistic, even if my results aren't the results that I necessarily want to see, when I'm feeling optimistic, I'm still going to take action. Where if I let go of that and I start to feel overwhelmed by everything, then I'm going to get no action. So those are two great O words that are like on two completely different opposite ends of the whole feeling spectrum for me. Are you my therapist or something? Whoa. So that's kind of my thoughts on overwhelming optimism. That was deep. So those are some obstacles. Ding, 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 obstacles. Feelings can be huge obstacles whenever we're talking about weight loss. And that's why so many people talk about journaling as a tool to use to really get into tune with your feelings. So when I started with the Silk and Sonder journals, there's the whole mood tracker in there. And it came with a feelings wheel. And it was quite overwhelming actually in the very beginning, because they're like, okay, pick out 6 feelings that you feel a lot and that you can track. And I'm like, okay, well, there's happy, sad, angry. What feelings are there? There's 3. I'm happy, sad, or angry. Like, I didn't know all of these other feelings. So I was kind of like lost in the whole thing of it. It was really overwhelming to me. So I had to learn how to figure out what my feelings were, because it wasn't something that I was really, in tune with. So by journaling, I was able to really, kind of think about the feeling a little bit more, describe it a little bit more, not generalize my feelings so much. So if you're interested in feelings, I would Google feelings wheel. There are so many examples of feelings wheels out there, but it's really interesting to kind of take the general category of, say, happy, and to break that down into like 10 different feelings. It's crazy. But our feelings can be obstacles in making progress because of habits that we've just learned over time. Sometimes we have learned a habit of to not show sadness, anger, hurt, discouraged. There's so many feelings that we've learned to just kind of internalize, and we don't release those out into the world. And for some people, that means that with those feelings, in order to internalize them, we've learned to do that with food. So that turns into another state of emotional eating. So it's a way, once we're aware of these things, now we can work on how do we either, change it on the front end, get curious, how do we change it on the front end so we don't feel like that? Or once we do feel like that, how are we going to remediate that? How are we going to solve that without necessarily stuffing our feelings? So, nature, meditation, are two wonderful ways to do that. But our feelings can be huge obstacles. Whenever we have feelings that sometimes it causes us to run and hide and to step away from our support group, from our community that supports us. And we think that we can, handle all of the problems on our own. And then that could have been caused by like one feeling, like we were hurt or sad or something. But then we do that, and then we're feeling lonely, and now we're depressed, and now we're sad. And then that can cause like anger and resentment. And all of these can cause, these behaviors that are nothing in line with what we want to do as far as taking care of our best self, taking care of ourselves in our best ways. So being aware of our feelings. Google a feelings wheel, track your feelings in relationship to food. How, are you an emotional eater? Some people don't eat at all whenever they're hungry or whenever they're feeling different emotions. And that can be a thing too, because overeating and undereating are not good for weight loss. We want to be eating the right amount of food that's right for our bodies every single day consistently. That consistency thing. So I know I mentioned overeating a lot because I'm kind of like a yo-yo, because on my really, really good days, I'm kind of an undereater. And then on my bad days, I'm an overeater. So my body doesn't know what the heck is going on. So it's like, I don't know if I'm supposed to like use these calories or if I'm supposed to save these calories, because girl, you're all over the place and I have no idea what to do. So being aware of these things is just, step one. And then step two is putting into place habits, systems to help with those things. So our emotions are huge obstacles. So, and I guess it just turned into like a huge like obstacle or emotional talk tonight, because it's been pretty much that. But I think that there's, obstacles is, we probably could have just started with obstacles and gone from there, because there are so many obstacles whenever it comes to weight loss. Type in for me in the comments box whenever we say obstacles. Now that I went on my, should have started this way, but I'm interested to know, whenever, for you, what is one of your biggest obstacles when it comes to weight loss? That's what I'm curious about. If you don't mind, please type that in the comments. What is your biggest obstacle when it comes to weight loss? Just gonna give you a minute, and I'm gonna drink my water. Belief in myself is still my biggest obstacle. Whew. What are we gonna do about that? What are we gonna do about that? Everybody is like, Misty, what? How much have you lost, Misty? 150 pounds. You're like climbing. You're like approaching goal weight. And belief in yourself is still your biggest obstacles. And everybody's just like, wow, look at that Misty go. We just gonna do it anyway. We just gonna do it anyway. Oh, so a lot of times whenever I have that belief in myself obstacle, the funny thing about that is that everyone has limiting beliefs. Everyone. If they're starting a new business, whenever they're becoming a new mom, whenever you're becoming a dog owner, trying to lose weight, We all have limiting beliefs. So many people in every walk of life. You could probably ask somebody, do you have, any limiting beliefs? And if they're, going to be, true and honest and, upfront with you, they're probably going to say that I had limiting beliefs. I didn't know if I was going to be able to get through school. I didn't know if I was going to be able to pass the test. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. I can't believe that, I have a successful business. If you would have asked me 15 years ago, I wouldn't have known that I would have had a successful, blah, 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 blah. We all have limiting beliefs. What I like to do is whenever that comes in, number one is go to my friends and say, oh my God, I'm having such a hard time and blah, blah, blah. And woe is me. And I can't believe that this thoughts and these things are coming up. And then, I have that support system that I've built over time that they're going to ask me the good questions. And they're going to say, Deanna, that's not true. Look at this, look at that, and give me the different examples because they know me so well that they can give me. But everybody has limiting beliefs and we can get past them. I don't think that they're something that would ever fully 100% go away, but we push them away. Shut up, Pete, or inner child or reptile brain or whatever. I know I can because I have evidence that I can do hard things. I think most people can say that they have gone through something hard. This is just like that hard thing, just a little bit different. I can do this too. And that's what I kind of like to go back to. I like to go back to. Okay, if you say, I know the feeling. I know the feeling 100%. I know the feeling. But I do know that it's not an uncommon thing. And that's why we have support systems. That's why we have communities. It's because sometimes, we just can't get past it. It's going to be there. I like to also focus on my strengths and how those strengths tie into it and minimize, some of the other things that are kind of smaller. Break it down into pieces. And so it seems a lot smaller depending on whatever it is. But it's a work in progress. It's one of those things that's like a work in progress. We're going to talk more about this whole belief in myself thing because I've got more, but I was caught off guard today because I didn't prepare at all. And it's not all just like totally popping up in my brain right now. But we're going to come back to it. We're going to come back to that because I've got a whole bunch on that. A whole bunch, actually. Pages. So I'm going to move on because I want to come back to that word about that whole limiting beliefs thing. But we're going to come back to that. Nobody else had any obstacles? What are their biggest obstacles that they wanted to put in the comments? Biggest obstacles. Overeating is a big obstacle. Okay, didn't see it. Not thinking I can do all the things. Big obstacles. Suppress my feelings. That's why I became over obese. Hello. Hi, nice to meet you. Me too. So overeating. I just want to write these down because I want to come back to them. Not thinking I can do all the things. I say if you raised a child, you can do all the things. That's just my belief. I think, you survive that. You can survive doing all the things, whatever all the things means. Okay, what does all the things? Okay, I'm gonna go off on a big thing here. What does all the things mean? Let's write that one down. Okay, so let's go back to some other words. We're gonna dig into that one sometime. So overcome. Oh my God! Like I said, we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back. We're gonna do a whole thing. I promise. I wanted to talk about the outdoors. Let's go to the outdoors. I feel prepared to talk about the outdoors. You guys forgive me for not being prepared and not being able to having to skip over some things today. I hope you guys can forgive me for that. I think you will because, well, I'm optimistic. A hopeless optimistic. Been suppressing them for so long I can't recognize that. Guilty as charged. Okay. So the outdoors. Oh my God. Misty has been doing workouts outdoors, and she's been saying that it's a whole different feeling than her indoor workouts. So, outdoors. I need the outdoors. I have been finding that the outdoors is just that refreshing, soul cleansing place for me. I love the outdoors. I have a friend of mine who is she's got heat sensitivity and she can't be in the sunlight and she can't be in the heat. So she gets sad, but she gets it kind of like in reverse. She gets it in the summertime because she can't go outside as much. So the outdoors are like a real, they're important. And I know that for a lot of people, like during the winter months, we do have the seasonal affective disorder because we're not getting outdoors as much. So it's a huge thing getting outside. It's also like something that we can learn from Misty that, it might feel differently to work out outside. If you're mainly doing indoor workouts, what if you took it outside? Be curious about that. Is there going to be a difference? Do I like it more? Do I hate it? How does it make me feel? Is it different? It's one thing to, be totally curious about it. I could never some people like to walk or run on tracks. And that is a place that you will never find me on a track at a school doing laps, walking or running. I could do laps around a lake. I could do laps around a pond, but not a track. That's just, it doesn't feel the same way. So even when you're outdoors, your environment outdoors can still make a difference. They can still make an impact on just how you feel about the whole thing in general. And the one thing that is the most important thing that I believe 100% is true is that whatever you're doing in life, it should be enjoyable. It should be enjoyable. If it is absolutely 100% miserable, you hate it, what's the point? It should be enjoyable. It should be fun. There are some things that are, a love-hate relationship. You kind of hate it whenever you're in it, but whenever you get done with it, you love it. You're like, oh, that was awesome. There's a lot of things that are like that, but for the most part, it should be enjoyable. And if you get that moment of enjoyment after, really pushing yourself hard in an exercise, then you're enjoying it. Just might not like it for a second during. Aw, that's awesome. That's very, very supportive. Walk the track at school almost every morning because there's Wi-Fi and I watch Frugal Mama's live stream. That's so nice. See, you found a way to make it really, really enjoyable. Many limiting. It's why I have to listen to back-to-back affirmation meditations. They're really helpful though, aren't they? Don't you find that they're helpful? I do. I find that affirmations can be very helpful. And some days, like there'll be an affirmation that I'll like read or say to myself. And on that day, I don't connect with it at all. I'm like, I can't even say that because it means nothing to me. And then the same affirmation, like a few days later, I might be in a whole different headspace. And on that day, I'm like totally like, yeah, that's me. That's who I am today. So I love affirmations and having a list of them and finding the one that, that's the right fit for the day because they don't all work the same every single day. If that makes any sense at all. Fresh air heals my soul. Mine too. There's something about being out in nature that just feels right. It just feels right. I love the outdoors. Overdue. I only got a few minutes left, so we're going to go to overdue. I believe that overdue is a correct thing. You can overdo your exercise. You can overdo your obsession with weight loss. If that's all that you are thinking and dreaming and feeling and writing and all the things about, you can definitely overdo it. You can get burnout really easily if you overdo how much time and space. We need to have, different interests, hobbies, things that we like to do so that we're not kind of always obsessed about weight loss because we can overdo it and we can get burnt out. And whenever we get burnt out, what happens whenever we get burnt out? Again, it's individual for each person. But whenever we get burnt out, we just stop doing it because we're like, I'm just burnt out. I don't want to do it right now. So we have to, watch out. And so like with the steps challenge, how many people participate in Derek's Journey's steps challenge? Do you get burnt out? Do you overdo it? So if you're trying to get, a high number of steps, you can overdo it. And then the next month comes along and you're like, I'm so sick of getting steps that your steps take a nosedive. Overdo it. You can overdo it with exercise to the point where you injure yourself. And you've got to take a break because of injury. There are so many different ways that we can overdo it. And we think that by working so hard, that we're going to get these like amazing results. But really what we need is just the right amount of effort every single day. Consistency. Finding that right level that makes you feel good, that is achievable for you, that is doable for you. And not, compare ourselves to others. There are some people that have the time, the energy, the ability, the motivation to work out 4 hours a day. And there are other people who they have the time, the energy, and the motivation to work out 30 minutes a day. There are people out there that have the time, the energy, and the motivation to eat super duper clean. And there are other people that don't. So consistent effort, find what works for you and strive for consistency. Because then really at the end of the day, what happens is we're just not consistent. Whoops, I wasn't consistent. Whoops, I wasn't consistent. Just consistency that works for you. And try to not, overdo it. We just don't want to overdo it. Because what happens whenever we overdo it? Not always the best things. So be careful with what you're doing and listen to your body, listen to your mind, listen to yourself, your intuition. You are a very smart person. Very smart person. You know what works for you. Don't get caught up in these limiting beliefs. Don't get caught up in the self-comparison or the comparison of others. Don't get caught up in all this other nonsense. You know what works for you. Just be consistent with that. Strive for that consistency. I know it's hard. I know it's not easy, but that's what we really, really, really want to do. Overdoing anything is generally not my problem. So we've got like 4 minutes left. And for you special people that are here right now, I want to give you guys a little sneak peek of something. Oh no. Let's do window. Yeah, window. Oh, I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek of what I've been working on. So here we go, guys. This is what I've been spending a lot of time on. Oh my God, so much. So because of work issues, the dates for the retreat, and I got to fix this picture, are September 13th through the 17th of 2023. And this is my cute little website that I've been working on for forever. And hopefully I can finish it this weekend. But, you know, my life just keeps doing whatever. But yeah, this is just my little pride of joy. So I've been dying to like show somebody it. So you guys get the first sneak peek. I haven't like proofed it. I still got some proofing to do, blah, blah, blah. And I'm probably scrolling too fast and you probably can't read it all. But anyway, I just wanted to show it. So if you are interested, just keep, keep watching, keep listening, keep checking things out, because we are going to have the bestest time. We're going to go to the City Museum. We're going to go to the Botanical Gardens. We're going to do this awesome treetop adventure. We're going to go to Six Flags. We're going to go hiking. See, look, I still got work to do. Anyway, more information to come on all of this, but that was just a little sneak peek that I wanted to give you because I'm so excited about it. I'm so excited, and I hope you guys can come. But the thing is there are only 9 spots available if you want to come on the retreat, September 13th through 17th. So you're going to want to make sure that you get first notification, and to get first notification, you're going to need to make sure that I have your email address on my website, adventuresofdeanna.com. So make sure that I have your email address in order to get that first email. Anyway, I still got work to do on it. Hopefully I can finish it this weekend. Fingers crossed that everything goes well this weekend, because I really need to get it out there. Anyway, that's that. I got to go. I got a dog I got to go visit. I want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for being here tonight. I really, truly appreciate you. I appreciate the time that you give to me. I appreciate you being supportive of me. Like, I cannot even tell you how much I love and support you guys. So I appreciate it. I will see you guys in the next video. As always, it's going to be an adventure. Bye.